telling women that they should accept less, when a lot of black men will tell you, I did accept less. But you know what, Miss Nicole, when that relationship goes bad, they're still going to blame me and say I should have chose better. Well, why did you choose a man that only brought the light bill? Well, why did you have a baby with a man that couldn't do more for you? Well, it's always going to be the black woman's fault. And I'm saying, if we want a realistic view of how to fix the black family, it can't always be black women. I need people who have so much to say about black women's tops and so much to say about black men. Read some books on black men and what they've had to go through, and read some books on what black women have had to go through, and have a well-rounded, educated point of view before you just start saying stuff and regurgitating stuff you done heard people say on social media.
Ma'am, they not gonna blame the black woman for the marriage gone bad. I promise you that. They're gonna look at that man and he's gonna have to take that goddamn L. Black woman ain't gonna take that L. And let
Yeah.
me say this.
Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. I'm your host, Mike. And today, it's been a while since we looked at a panel, so let's do it. This comes from the Lapeef Network. Paradise Paris says women here are getting the wrong advice. Other cultures don't have these issues. Now, that's an interesting topic. It's an interesting title. And like I always tell you guys, all these relationship conversations boil down to the same four social constructs, right? Raising our kids to be soldiers in the gender war, bad idea. The vetting process is broken, another bad problem. Concept of marriage is outdated. Meaning that, well, it's another problem, right? Meaning that we don't see the different variations of how how marriages can work. Well, most of the part we see like two or three, and then anything outside of that is just wrong, and I'm not going to do it. And then the fourth one is finances. So let's jump in and see what we got here. Right off the bat, I would say that, well, this more relates to how we're raising our kids. So let's get going.
The reason why we're having that conversation is because those women are influencing the other women. They're literally the idea, and this has been pushed for years. Feminism, like 40 years or some odd years old. If you get money, you don't need a man. That was the whole basis of the conversation. That was the whole thing around it. Even when
And this woman here has the no, it's not look on her face. But literally, I think this conversation has a age requirement that I haven't heard yet. But again, we just got started. Because while, what is her name? Mrs. Nicole Michelle, while she is right. That's the wrong attitude to have. Um, Talk to women who are in their mid-20s and see what they say.
when Mrs. Nicole was talking about it, she was saying how she has her female friends, and they're like, because she has money, because they have money, they're well off, their degree, their X, Y, and Z, that they don't have to deal with, right? And my thing is like, well, yes, you do. You can pick and choose whatever man it is, right? Just because he's a six-figure man don't mean he can't be an abuser. Just because he's a six-figure man don't mean that that he's actually a leader. The idea is a lot of times we have this mentality that money is the determinant for how we respect people, and we have this idea that money.
Yeah, and this is more of a conversation. He's an interesting point, and it's more about the vetting process, the fact that the vetting process is broken. This is where you get this whole conversation. I did another video about this, about why women keep saying, he's got to make 100K. In most cases, what's going on there is you're dealing with the fallout of the vetting process being broken, right? So most women are terrible at mate selection, and because a lot of times the women do not trust the men in their family to help vet potential husbands, they'll come up with these extreme measures and use those to vet guys. So as a father, I can tell you that for a man to marry my daughter, and she's not near marrying age anyway, but you gotta, hey, you're rich, okay, well that's great, but you don't have enough money for me to overlook the other aspects of the vetting process. It's a famous line in Coming to America where, John Amos said it, and he was like, "You ain't got enough money to buy my daughter off." And that's exactly how most fathers feel. This is why, you know, it's important to have that male patriarch in your family help you with the vetting process for potential husbands. Because as men, we're going to look a lot more at the fact that, you know, we don't care about how much money he make. What matters to us is, okay, how's he going to treat you? Because ultimately, that's the most important thing. Not how much money he makes. But again, a lot of times, because we've raised our kids to be soldiers in the gender war, women in particular, because they don't know how to measure a man's character as well as men do, that's when you get these arbitrary things like, well, he has to make over 100K, not realizing that most men will never meet that. But even if he does, how is that a good judge of his character? It's not.
Money is the answer for what they are. When it shows, studies literally show majority of wealthy people inherited their wealth. So the idea that black women are hustling hard to get it off the ground and get it off our backs, going into relationships with these men who are also six-figure, thinking that because he got money, he's a leader. No. Because he got money, he got good character. No. Because he got money, he X, Y, and Z. Like, balance, I'm actually agreeing with you. But the real reason why we keep having these conversations is because there's only an echo chamber from the size of black women. Other cultures can't, they don't fathom that because their reality don't look like ours. Other cultures don't have it to where the women are making majority of the decisions. Other cultures don't have it where majority of their homes are ran by women. So that's the reality. We know that in black culture, black women will make a lot of dominating decisions and we influence each other. And if the influence is if you get some money, you don't need a man, I'm asking how the hell do those two things even correlate?
Um, to I want to say this really quickly because just like Hank was talking about, simps will never get leaders to follow them. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Like a simp's not gonna inspire, encourage.
Did I miss something? Like, what does that have to do with what Paris was talking about? So this is a problem when you look at clips, especially from a panel. It's just like people will say random stuff, and it's actually related because it came like 3 minutes before the clip started. But then you're just wondering, like, what the heck is she talking about? I don't know.
I don't even have the word a man to do something different and to become a simp. Like that's just not how a woman with an OnlyFans is never going to get me to have an OnlyFans. It's never going to happen. Period. Not in this lifetime. So all I want to say is that if you're strong and confident and know who you are and have knowledge of self, go find somebody that has knowledge of self. And for the women you're talking about, we have young, impressionable women. Then it's our job to be on social media and teach them. It's our job to do that. And that's what we should be doing. I just don't want to have any more gender wars. I don't.
Oh, a woman after my own heart. The gender war is dumb. But she said something interesting is the fact that, it's up to the older women to teach the younger women how to avoid the traps of, well, being single for life. I agree with that. I just don't know if, let's just leave it there.
I don't want to talk about women in a negative light or men in a negative light. I want to really broadcast people that have knowledge of self so we can have more of those people. That's really what I could say.
All right. I want to say really succinctly, if you allow.
Knowledge of self, what that boils down to is, again, the way we raise our kids. See, right now, we're raising our kids to have relationship skills that are underdeveloped. So my thing is that if we can do a better job of raising our kids to work in cooperation with one another, I think that leads down the path that Balance is talking about. But because of the way things are right now, it's just like there's a lot of mistrust going on. And this is why you get the perpetuation of the gender war, because men and women are looking at people who are just like them and saying, well, no, it's easier to point out the opposite gender and say you're the enemy subconsciously, right? And then just keep it moving. And it's like, well, women do this and and men do this and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, the reality is we still need each other. But Let's hear what Mrs. Nicole Michelle has to say.
Allow me, Lapeef, because I hate it when everybody's on black women's tops as if black women are the only ones complaining. If we read books, there's a book by Lori Gottlieb, who is actually Jewish, is complaining that men, since feminism, not just black men, men in general, non-black men, are not making enough. They're complaining about being breadwinners, but because we have these conversations amongst black people,
What
we think
percentage
it's
of
just black women. That is
what percentage of women are the breadwinner? Do we need to go to statistics? Do we need to go to Google and just flat out Google this stuff? Oh boy, here we go. Let's go ahead and do this real quick, cause average income. We're talking about black women. So black women in the state of Georgia, because I told you guys you need to break down, whenever you have these income questions, start breaking it down by state because you get more realistic numbers. So, what do women earn? What is this link? It says, what women earn by race/ethnicity. And this is a chart that comes from a .org, statusofwomendata.org. Okay. So right now we have a list of states. We're going to go to my state of Georgia, and black women and their income in the state of Georgia, they average $32,000. And that is, according to the chart, that is 63% of what white men earn. So white men earn just, they are earning a little bit more. Let's see. Native American women, not applicable. Asian or Pacific Islander women tend to make $35,000. Hispanic women, $24,000 or $25,000. And then white women, $39,000. So $32,000 is the average for black women in the state of Georgia. Let's look up a couple more states. California, it's 43. Let's see. Arizona is 35. Alabama. Let's look up some more states that have a higher population of black people. Let's see. Michigan, 34. Okay, Mississippi. Whoo, man, 25. One of the poorer states. Okay, Nevada, New York, 40. New Jersey, 42. Yeah. Pennsylvania is 35. Now, see, it's interesting because usually the way this works is that the higher incomes usually fall to states who have a higher cost of living, hence New York, New Jersey, California, right? But in still, the average black woman in the United States makes 33, right? Okay, well, let's see, North Carolina. But if you go to a state like, if you're in Mississippi, or, you know, if you're in Maryland, where the cost of living is extremely high, the Northeast incomes tend to be higher because cost of living is higher. You're in DC, it's 48,000. A lot of government jobs in DC, but also the cost of living is higher. See, because the average white woman is making what, 70. Okay. California is 43. Yeah, see, this is, but again, what percentage of women are making this though? So she's talking about, you know, higher earning women, I'm assuming. We're going to get to it in a minute. But again, what percentage of women are making that?
The misconception. Black women, more than any other group, is over 51% of black women who are in committed relationships. It doesn't differentiate if they're married, but
What?
definitely living together. Black women are breadwinners. But we want to put
What?
that on our top, like they have no right to ask for a man who's able to bring.
Whoa. What? Black women are breadwinners. I just showed y'all the chart here. We go back and look at it. Where are they breadwinners at? You mean because they're single parents? Is that what we're talking about? Because these numbers, did I miss something here? Average income for black men in the state of Georgia. Let's see, 27, 23. The average annual pay for African American jobs category is $58,000 a year. And demographics, Georgia, and race. What is this? Coastal Georgia Indicators Coalition. We're gonna close that out, and then let's see here. Population. Okay. We're gonna have to come back to this because this is, I think I'm gonna end up having to come back to this because average, oh, here we go. Average household income by race. Here we go, right here. So in the state of Georgia, the average household income is 72. Now, this is interesting because we have the woman's income there, right? So we're going to break out the old calculator here because I'm really bad at math because I'm just that bad, So we got, 72? We're going to keep the numbers round because I like round numbers, 72,000. And then minus, what did it say the average black woman is making? 32,000, right? What does that equal to? Well, let me get this on camera so everybody can see it, right? Okay, so 72,000 minus 32,000. Yeah, 32,000. What does that equal? 40,000. So the man, by simple math, is making 40, right? Well, the woman is making 32. So who are all these breadwinners, women that she's talking about? The women live together and they're married and all this other stuff, but then they're the breadwinners. How?
Bring what she brings to the table. The only time I get on women, Hink, to your question, I get on women about he needs to make this certain amount of money because I help women convert to traditionalism. They want to get in that traditional lifestyle. I tell them, what difference does it make? If he can cover the bills, you need to do what, and he meets all the other metrics that you have in place. Why does he need to put you in a gated community after you say I do? Is he able to take care of the family and meet those responsibilities? Then go for it. No, they're looking for a lifestyle. And I'm like, baby girl, you are going to be single for a long time because you are money driven, lifestyle, hypergamy, this, luxury, that. That's the wrong mindset for any woman that's trying to get married. So I don't want my position misrepresented. Before I leave this panel, I want women to know that marriage is not about money, but it is an important component because without money, you can't pay the babysitter for the job that you required her to have in order to get married, that 50-50 relationship that you want. In order for you all to have a traditional lifestyle, it requires money. Bank of America.
What's interesting is that there are more and more men pushing for 50-50 relationships just because it's a good sign. It's not about 50-50 was never about money. I don't know where we got this definition from. 50-50 was always about responsibilities and effort. Especially with men. We're not saying, when you have a man who is saying that she need to pay half the bills, it's usually because he can't figure out what other ways she contributes right off the bat. So if I can't figure that out, well, you want me to do all this other stuff, then you need to come on halfway with me then. But see, therein lies the problem because, again, it's the way we raise our kids. If all they have learned to value is the almighty dollar, then that's when you get this. Then I get it now. That's where this 50-50 thing comes from, because men are tired of getting finesse and breaking their backs out there doing all this work, and then you come home and a woman saying that you come home and she's finessed you. That's what most men are scared of. That's why they say 50-50, because they're scared of being finessed. But again, if we raise our kids to work in cooperation with one another, then we can teach each other about what the other gender values and start using that as a tool to bring ourselves together.
America requires money for that mortgage every month. We can try to dance around it as much as we can. But classism does come up. It rears its ugly head, and it's easy for someone that's working class, working poor, to say, "Yeah, she should take my light bill money," because you've never been outside of the country. You've never
Nope.
been anywhere, and done anything outside of your immediate neighborhood. So it's
Nope.
easy for you to tell women what they should do, but you've never done nothing. I guarantee you, when you hit a certain tax
What?
bracket, you're going to be like, don't tell me what I should settle for. And that's for men and women. I guarantee you, you're going to look at it totally different. You're going to be like, this matters. And we don't even talk about the family and how the family structure changes when money is involved. You don't even. So I hate it when people put that on their tops, Lapeef, on Black women's tops, like we're just walking around here, the only ones considering money. We have to consider how we're going to take care of these kids. You talk about women being on welfare, but then on the next hand, you want her to just accept anything. That's we can't do that. We can't do that.
Nope.
Congratulations to all the women that are working hard and doing their things, and the men who are working hard and doing the things. We need to find each other, couple up, and get together. But I am not getting ready here, sitting up here telling women that they should accept less, when a lot of Black men will tell you, I did accept less. But you know what, Miss Nicole, when that relationship goes bad, they're still going to blame me and say I should have chose better. Well, why did you choose a man that only brought the light bill? Well, why did you have a baby with a man that couldn't do more for you? Well, it's always going to be the Black woman's fault. And I'm saying, if we want a realistic view of how to fix the Black family, it can't always be Black women. I need people who have so much to say about Black women's tops and so much to say about Black men. Read some books on Black men and what they've had to go through, and read some books on what Black women have had to go through, and have a well-rounded, educated point of view before you just start saying stuff and regurgitating stuff you done heard people say on social media.
Ma'am, they not gonna blame the black woman for the marriage going bad. I promise you that. They're gonna look at that man and he's gonna have to take that goddamn L. Black woman ain't gonna take that L. And let
Yeah.
me say this: if your women who you are that are clients of yours, if you get them to buy that one pop theory, this won't be a problem.
Yeah,
They'll take
I
that
agree.
blue collar man as long as they willing to bring their money together as a collective. Because look, you gave me your body. Why can't I have that paper? I gave you my last name. Why can't I have that paper? We come together as everything else. Then let's come together financially. And we're not gonna be playing. This is your rainy day fund. This is my money. It's your money. No, we together. Let's bring our money together and let's see what happens.
So Miss Nicole,
Show them what we going through. We still going through there right now today.
so Miss Nicole, I got a kind of unique perspective. The majority of my life, almost every, like I say 80% of the flights I was on was private flights, right? Getting like the 5-star, 4-star, all of those type of amenities, because I was playing basketball, right? And the thing I can say is, after a while, it's just stuff. Like it does not mean the same thing. The most valuable thing and experience I've ever had in my life was watching my kids be born. And I've been at the pinnacle of like sport and parade celebrations, going to the White House for that stuff. But it don't even compare to when my child was born. It don't compare to when my kids come run up to me in the house. Like, I think it's hard to describe to people that's aspiring to something, right? But if you spend your whole life to get to that point, and it could just be anecdotal for myself, but it's not worth it to sacrifice everything that could be for your life for a lifestyle. That's all I was saying.
Well, you know what? What was it called again? Paradise says women here are getting the wrong advice. Other cultures don't have these issues. Okay, so let's get the panel back up here.
Never done nothing. I guarantee.
So here's the thing, because I'm only gonna talk about what the title says, right? Other cultures do have these issues. How does it relate to us, and why is it that how does it relate to Black people? We are in a unique situation where we both sides are victims of being in the gender war. The gender war runs more rampant in our community than anywhere else, and it's because, again, we have a generation or two of our kids being raised to be soldiers in the gender war. We're raising our kids to perpetuate these things to the point where we just argue back and forth about who's right and who's to blame. When the reality is that it's more important to just actually fix the problem and stop worrying about whose fault it was. It doesn't matter. Do we fix the problem? I like what Hank said about they're not going to blame the woman. They're going to blame the man. Yeah, to an extent. Society will blame the man without a doubt. I think what's happened is that you have a generation of boys who have seen that and said that that's not fair. And when you're growing up in the perspective of a single mother household, I can understand why men would say that. Because there's a group of men who have never experienced what comes with leadership and the responsibility that comes with it. So these same boys, or if you want to call them that, or men or whatever, are just looking at all the downsides and the negatives that come with it, not realizing the responsibility that comes with being a leader or head of a household. Because again, you grew up with your mom as the head of the household, so you're just following suit. You get accustomed to following a woman's leadership. Now, does that mean that the younger generation there are no leaders in that group? No, absolutely not. I think that what needs to happen is that we've got to change the way we need more understanding of different ways of leading. This is the problem. So this is the problem with current day, the concept of marriage right now is that, unless it's a traditional marriage where the guy is the head of the household and the breadwinner, then we say that, well, this is not going to work. When the reality is that, yes, it can. We just need more examples of working relationships or couples that are going through something similar. This is why I say we need more married people making content, because it gives us more examples of working relationships. It gives you more options to choose from, right? It works because in the end, it ends up working like a salad bar. You take what you want, or a buffet. You take what you want and leave the rest. Whatever you need to get your marriage or relationship working, find a model that fits that and go borrow what you need from it in order to build a relationship for you and your spouse. But you guys have to be in agreement as to what kind of relationship that you're looking for. And I think today that there's not a lot of that going on. We don't put any forethought into what kind of relationships we want or how we want them to work. It's just we expect it to work out perfect because this person is good. This person made me feel good, so they must be the one. But guys, let me know what you think. I'm going to stay goes to the next time. Peace.